Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the TJR Auto channel. My name is Tyler, and in today's video, we're doing some winter prep. My big old girl, Holly, the HD. Now, this is the couple things I want to do in this video have been on my list to do for a while with this truck, and I've kind of just always said, nah, I'll get to it. But it snowed last night, very little bit, but still, now the roads are salted, and, you know, that's basically just doom for any vehicle in the Rust Belt. So this frame is in mint shape. It's got some, surface rust on it because the factory coating has finally worn off after almost 20 years in a lot of the spots, but there's still some factory paint on this frame, which is honestly kind of crazy because this was like a daily driven work truck for most of its life. So before anything serious gets rusty on the frame, I would like to prevent that. And the cab itself, the bed, they're in mint shape. They don't have any rust or rot on them. So I would also like to see if there's anything we can do to continue that prevention. But as always with me, we're doing it on the down low. We're doing it for the cheap because I'm cheap and I'm also kind of poor. So I spent like 60 bucks at Home Depot. We got some Rust-Oleum paint in a can. I also got 1 can of spray paint and a couple cans of rust reformer. Like I said, it was just about 60 bucks after tax, and there's enough material to not just do the frame or, the underneath of this truck. I also would like to be able to paint the axle on Bonnie. But aside from doing the paint underneath this thing, I also would like to check the fluids in the front and rear axle, as well as the transfer case, because I have never looked in them, and I've been driving this truck for a while now. The engine oil should be fine. Trans fluid should be fine, as I've had both of those changed, so those have been serviced, but the axles in the T-case definitely need to be cracked open. Just see what the fluid looks like. Hopefully the fluids look okay. And if they're not full, top them off just so I don't have to worry about it. So I didn't choose a good day to do this because now the truck is wet. It's dripping on the floor right where I need to crawl. So we're going to get a little dirty. But just a disclaimer, I'm not doing this the right way, paint-wise on the frame. I think we're doing it an okay way. But in my eyes, this is one of those, it's better to do something than nothing. And we're not using like a rubberized undercoating that's going to trap moisture into the frame and make it any worse. So I don't think we're going to hurt anything. But if I can get a couple years out of what we're going to do, and again, for 60 bucks, I'll be a happy camper. So let's tear into it. All right, so a quick tour of underneath just to show you guys what the frame looks like. Like I said, a lot of the factory, coating is still there. But now, certain spots starting to get a little bit of surface rust to show through. And the method we're going to be using isn't going to be helping at all, really, with like the inside of these tubes, because I'm not spraying anything all the way in. Also, that tube is probably rotted out above the gas tank because the gas tank straps are rotted. But that's really the only nasty rust on this truck. So like I said, as long as we can do some sort of preventative stuff, I'll be happy. At some point, I had a little extra black spray paint that I hit this part of the frame with that you can see because I had painted the inside of the door sills white where the doors used to rub. So, yeah, we had a little bit of white overspray, and now it's kind of just got a little bit of black paint on it. But as you can see, it's actually in really nice shape. But up front, we definitely lost a lot of our coating as we have a lot more rust up here than we do anywhere else. But again, it's not even really that scaly. Again, I actually got scared. Looking at the camera, I thought that this was broken and super rusty, but that's just coating that's flaked off. So that's probably the worst rust on the truck, which I also will coat just to try to help her hold on for a little while longer. But as you guys can tell, it's not like this thing's rotted or on the road to being rotted, but I would like to keep this thing on the road for as long as possible because knowing me, I'm probably going to keep this thing forever. So yeah, that's how we look. So I got 3 cans of this rust reformer. This was $1 cheaper than the other rust converter, so that's why I went with that. Got 1 can of this for any of our hard to reach spots. And the big money item, this was 16 bucks. This, we're going to be brush painting this on, and it's oil-based, so I figure that might mean it's going to be a little bit better than just good old spray paint everywhere. So I'll get everything cleaned out from underneath the truck. Any areas that have water still dripping on them, I'll probably just ignore for now and go back to them later. But I figure I might take a blowtorch to majority of the frame just to really try to get any moisture out of it before I actually hit it with any of that rust reverter. It's just so easy to, replace the frame in your truck. It's actually kind of crazy. Look at that. Look at that. It's brand new. That's crazy. I will say, this stuff also tastes pretty good. Yeah, it's gonna, oh yeah. Look at that. Oh yeah. Yep. Get the top of, oh yeah. All up in there. Uh-huh. Yep. Oh yeah. Mint. While our rust reformer is drying on the frame, might as well start checking our fluids and filling as needed. Now you might say, Tyler, just drain everything and fill them. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it. Okay. Let's see if we actually have anything. There's some fluid in here, but ooh, that actually looks pretty new. I think we can still top it off though. I just made a little concoction in this flexible bag. This is actually one of the bags I used to fill up Bonnie's rear end. And there was a tiny little bit in here. And then I also had some other gear oil from one of my old Z28s that I filled up about half this with and gave her the good old mix in. And now I'm just gonna shove it in that hole and fill it until it starts coming back out of there. Let's see, does the rear diff have anything in it? Ooh. Ooh. Probably not gonna like what I'm gonna see. It's definitely a little low. Ooh, that's some not so good looking stuff. But it is lighter colored. I also did just shove my finger through one of the dirtiest holes known to man. But yeah, we'll top her off. Alright, we didn't get too much into the rear. The front definitely took more than the rear did. I think the front was probably about a half quart low, and I smidged maybe a quarter of a quart into the rear. So I'll button this up, and then it's time for the T-case. I can't even get my pinky into the fill plug on the T-case. So had a little bit of red fluid on the end of it, well, red-ish, but I'll just try pumping in some ATF and make a catastrophic mess when it probably doesn't need much, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Yeah, she took a couple pumps. I may have miscalculated my catch pan's location. Well, with the rust reformer being dry and all of our fluids now being topped off, I think it's time to start slathering some paint on this bitch. Oh yeah, get her all in there. Get it all in there. Yep. Yeah, this is gonna take a while for about the first 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna get fed up with it taking a while, and I'm just gonna start slathering everything in this black paint. I've heard of people using like tractor paint and that working good, so I'm hoping this does the similar concept and just kind of works. I don't know. We're gonna find out. And then wherever I can't get my little paintbrush, I have the satin black spray can that I'll just shoot to, like I said, anywhere that I can't get my little brush into. But, yeah. I mean, it's black, so I'm sure that's going to be giving us more protection than the flaking, paint or undercoating that was on this before. So let's take this area from this to this. If you look past all the spots that aren't supposed to have paint on them having paint, the frame actually looks pretty damn good with this stuff on it. And even on, ignore the heater screaming for its life. But this side is starting to dry up nicely. Ignore all the runs. You can see it's looking pretty good. And any spots I didn't get to, primarily like inside of the cap corner mounts, those I'm just going to use the rattle can for, because it's an absolute pain in the ass getting the brush in there. And I felt like I was wasting time on the first one. So I just gave up on the other one, and I'm going to give up on these couple. But we're moving along pretty good right now. Probably have, I don't know, we blew through some paint, but I definitely have enough to at least get, the main frame done, the spare tire support, shock mounts, and yeah, I'm laying it on pretty thick. So I don't think this is going to dry in one day. I'll probably have to leave the truck in here overnight, kind of let it cure up. The key I found is you get the brush dripping wet, you drip paint everywhere, and you kind of just slather it on the top, and you help it work its way down into all the nooks and crannies, all the imperfected surfaces. But it goes on pretty easy, as you could expect, because it's paint. But yeah, it's been kind of tedious, if we're going to be honest. But by the looks of it, I'm thinking this is going to serve us pretty well for what I'm looking to do with it. And like I said, if I can get a couple years out of this, I will be happy. If that can protect the frame, for basically an afternoon or an evening's work on a weekend in one day. Everything I've done today has been all done on a Saturday, and I only kind of started being productive around 12 o'clock today. We should have a pretty nice product at the end, and now I know that this truck will be winter ready, and I can go crash this thing into as many snowbanks as I want, if it snows. Well, we're wearing some black paint on the garage floor, but this truck looks killer with this frame painted up. It honestly came out really nice, and some would say that this was more of a minimal effort job, and I would kind of agree. Obviously pulling off the bed, pulling the cab to really, shoot the frame, with some sort of like sandblasting to actually clean it up all the way, and then truly painting it or powder coating it. That's a real way of doing it. But this, I think, will definitely last us for some years to come. It looks way nicer, and again, should definitely help with preventing rust on this rig. Look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. She looks good. She's looking pretty damn good. Alrighty folks, well, with all that being said, I think that's where we're going to be wrapping up today's video. It's cold. I need to go do some last minute Christmas shopping, and the frame, all the paint seems to have dried up pretty good. It's been sitting for not a full day, maybe like 18 hours, 20 hours just about, and I kind of just let it bake in the garage with the heater going for a good chunk of that time. So again, I think it came out really good for what it is, you know, literally $60 in material, and not too much effort. Did it in one afternoon or one evening, whatever you want to call it, but I think that came out great, and I'm very happy that we did check the rear axle, front diff, and the transfer case, as they were a little bit low on fluid. So we definitely aren't hurting anything by putting a little bit more fluid in there. But now Holly should be ready to be the nice daily driver throughout the winter on these nasty salted roads. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I truly do appreciate it. You guys are going to be seeing this, I believe, after Christmas. So happy holidays to all. Hopefully you enjoy. I'll catch you guys in the next one.